What's good, y'all, and welcome to my review for the latest episode of Bleach, the 1,000-Year Blood War anime. Holy mother of God, bro. This episode was fucking insane. I don't know if I like it a little bit more than the Yamamoto episode, but they're about on the same level, if you ask me, bro. The animation was god tier. We learned a little bit more about Ichigo, that he is actually that looks like he has some Quincy blood in him from his mother, perhaps. Um, yeah, and then there's Byakuya, which we'll talk more about Byakuya and whether or not Kubo will keep him dead this time when we get there. So yeah, we'll talk about that in a bit. And yeah, man, animation, everything, the original Gote 13, the opening of the episode, man. Fucking madness, bro. Let's just jump right in. So we start this episode off with the original Gote 13. As you guys know, the image of them, what they look like, was leaked a few days ago. And of course, everyone's theorizing, like, oh, who is this person related to? Is this person have some connection to Hoshiro? Is this Dami, Mami, Ruruka, Dokagame from James, man? Everyone was theories across the board on who these characters are. Is this one character related to, like, Yoruichi or something? Theories were aplenty, and the fan art was everywhere, man. I, of course, saw a lot of this on my feed and, of course, watched James's video of it. Now, even after this episode, we still know fuck all about these characters. And the only difference is, compared to the manga, we at the very least know how they look like. Because, up to my knowledge, from what James mentioned, that in the manga they were only showed up in one panel, and they were all in silhouette. We didn't know what they even looked like. Here we actually get to know what they look like, and we actually get to see some of them, if not all of them, fight a little bit, which was pretty cool. Now, a lot of people have theorized on where we could learn more about the original Gote 13. Obviously, James mentioned that this could be like a year's worth of content for BBS, for summons, and maybe even a separate story mode that Kubo supervises. Some people have also theorized we might see them in the Hellverse whenever Kubo gets back to writing the Hell arc in the manga. There's definitely ways where we will probably find out. We could find them in like canon fillers later on in the series. We know the show is going to be going for like 50 plus episodes, 4 cores, which we got. Which I actually just noticed. Mal changed up the episode count for Bleach, and it's now scheduled for 13 episodes for this core. And I'm assuming the other cores will be 13 episodes as well. I know a lot of people have already said this was like already known by this point, but it looks like this is the first time it's been like confirmed. Because up till a few days ago, Mal still had question mark for how long this series was going to be. Anyway, so we have that. We see them going up against Yuha in the original, I guess, Blood War. It looked absolutely perfect. First, I gotta say, I love the color grade they used for this one. It kind of reminds me of just like a manga kind of thing. It looks black and whitish with a little bit of like some like a yellowish hue or something. It looks really good, man. I thought it looked really good. So whoever was the animators that worked on this section of the episode, shouts to them, man. This series, this whole thing looked incredible, man. We see a lot of them fight. We see Urahana just slice him up. We see the big guy grabbing the heads of two of the Quincy's and just smashing them together, bro. That one was pretty gruesome. We see a bunch of the other captains just, slicing and dicing before we see Yamamoto slowly approaching Yuha as he's like stepping on top of all these corpses, burning them due to his Bankai and his Zanpakuto and everything. They start to face off, and right as Yuha is about to attack, Sasakibe shows up from the rubble and stabs Yuhaba in the back. Before we cut over to a slight flashback to when Shunsui was a kid, when he found this painting inside Yamamoto's room, which is of course of him in his Bankai form. And Yamamoto starts chasing him after, like, hey, what did I tell you about going in my room without my permission, blah 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 blah. And it seems like he like slapped him or smacked his ass or something. There was some sound effect that happened on screen while they were zooming in on this painting. We don't know what it is, but it sounds like he like slapped him a little bit once he finally caught him. And Yamamoto explains that was a monster that appeared in the Soul Society a long time ago. It showed up when the Soul Society was facing crisis and only made things worse. It will never show up again. But if it ever does, we then cut back to current Yamamoto, and bro, the look on this man's face. This is the look of a man that knows he's dead. This is the look of a man that has tasted defeat. And we just see him just staring there like, bro, like this is the look of a defeated man. You just look at Yamamoto, this man knows that he has been defeated. Spits out some blood before we see that he was perfectly sliced in half diagonally. Literally, bro, this has got to be one of the cleanest diagonal cuts I've ever seen in anime history, bro. Like, he was just sliced clean diagonally, man. It was clean as hell. And Yamamoto says, I'll probably never be back here again. And then we cut over to a bunch of the captains who it looks like they all somehow sense that Yamamoto's died, like Soifan, Toshiro, Shuhei. He straight up like turns his back to his opponent, screams out "Old Man Yami" before he gets shot in the back by the Quincy. We also hear like the splash sound effect after Yamamoto falls down to the ground, and I think that might have been after the Soul Reapers noticed that or felt his, I guess, his spiritual pressure wasn't there anymore or whatever. Anyway, this is when Yuhan leaves with the Blanca, which finally know his name, Hushwalt, as he says that you may be the head of the Soul Society, but your demise was pitiful, Yamamoto. And as he's leaving, Yamamoto, with his last breath, grabs onto his cape, refusing even in death to let him go. Yamamoto, yeah, but Yuha just ends up just slicing his arm and tells him, trying to show that you won't let me die even in death. And then this man, as if he hasn't desecrated this man's death enough, he puts his foot right on his head and says that he was a half-hearted fool and he will never know why he was removed as being counted as one of the 5 special threats. Yes, according to Yuha, Yamamoto was not one of the special threats. Kenpachi was, Aizen was, Ichigo was. I forget. I don't think they ever said who the other 2 were. I don't think so anyway. I might be misremembering, but yeah, those were like the only ones we know was Kenpachi, Aizen, and Ichigo. Don't know who the other 2 were be. And the reason for this is that we get some flashbacks back to the fake Karakura town where he asks where he says, why couldn't you resurrect or fix your left arm? Which I'm assuming now, this is something that I've been kind of wondering about for a while now, is what happened to Yamamoto's arm. As you guys know, I haven't finished all the Bleach anime up to this point. But I assume because in all the Bleach 1000 Year Blood War renders for BBS, Yamamoto was always missing an arm. And given the fact that he was using his Bankai and Shindam, I just assume, he probably lost it during the Blood War, and that's when he uses his Bankai. But then I go back to the episode right before he goes and uses his Bankai. He was already missing the arm, and I'm like, what the hell? When did he miss the arm? Well, I finally got my answer. He lost it to probably Aizen during this arc. So yeah, finally get to know what happened to his arm. Anyway, Yuha tells him that you could have done it if you had ordered the human girl to do it, but you didn't because you didn't want to exploit humans. Even during his battle with Aizen, he was still apprehensive to have Ichigo get involved because he was a human. And then he tells him he has grown weak. He used to be different. The original 13 God Squad that were founded were a guard squad in name only. They were a bunch of savage killers, which James also mentioned, said this in his video, and Nancy was kind of wondering what the timeline was between when we have this flashback to the 13 guard squad, and of course when Sasakibe first used Bankai against Yamamoto. Well, we find out from this episode that it all happened basically around the same time, since Sasakibe was the one that took the killing blow to Yuha 1,000 years ago. Anyway, Yuha continues on saying that because they were a fearsome bunch, and as their leader, Yamamoto, was truly a beast with a sword, and that he used anything and everything to slay anything. His comrades meant nothing to him, is nothing more than just Astrum, as we saw in the episode as he was just stepping over everybody with his flaming shoes. But once they had attained peace, they had more to protect and love, and that's when Yuha and Yuha's eye, they deteriorate into a bunch of weaklings that would hesitate to take action to satisfy your own pathetic sense of justice and pride. You die without realizing this, so I'm going to tell you. The Soul Society is about to perish, but the original 13 Court Guard Squad died with us 1,000 years ago. That's when he just completely demolishes his corpse. Yay! Fuck you, man. Fuck him. How dare he do that to Yamamoto. So then that's when he tells Hushwint to inform the rest of the Stern Riders and tell them to thoroughly crush the Soul Side. This is when they all start to open up this portal, which has a bunch of Quincy foot soldiers come out of, and they just start slicing and just massacring the remaining Soul Reapers that are still left. And it looks like they switched to CGI for a good number of them, just from the numbers of them. It looked like, although it could have been 2D animation, but I think at least some of these were done with some of these foot soldiers were done with CGI. It looks like, although I could be wrong on that one. So then, as we see the rest of the Soul Society perish, we see some of the other Quincy's as they slice of the remaining Soul Reapers. Yuha looks on as he sees the Soul Society engulfed in flames and says, "It's over." You're then finally back to Ichigo, where it looks like he can see all the Soul Reapers that are dying in these little dots. I'm assuming that's supposed to represent there spiritual pressure. It might be. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but he obviously sees all these like little like dots disappearing and disappearing. He says, "Don't disappear, don't disappear." And yo, I gotta say, major shout out to Ichigo's Japanese voice actor as well as Byakuya's Japanese voice actor as well. When we get to that scene next up. But yeah, looking forward to this with the dub. You guys are gonna get the double reaction with this episode, no question. I gotta see how JYB does this scene, man. It's gonna be fucking awesome. So as he screams, "Don't disappear!" Finally, Akko manages to release the gates that were closing up the opening into the Soul Society. But we see he's already been stabbed by like a bunch of like Quincy arrows. He says, "Sorry, I want you to open it sooner." On the side, but it seems like nothing ever goes my way. And I love the fact that this entire scene right here was done completely from Ichigo's POV first person. I thought that was a really nice touch from Periot, so shout out to them. And then we see in the corner over there, there's one of the Quincy's just saying there, was like, "Oh, who the hell are you? I am stern writer Shah's Domino, the power I was given." And man, Ichigo just one-shots this guy. It's fucking awesome, bro. and then we get like the bench of the shock expression from both the Quincy's and the soldiers. Love the shots for these. Thought they looked really good, man. Especially the one for the Soul Reapers, where we see them kind of like circle around Shinji's face. I thought that was a nice touch. So Ichigo drops Akko by some of the Soul Reapers before he jumps into the air and can see the bodies of Rukia and Renji before he goes over to find Byakuya. And we get to Byakuya's scene. Byakuya asks if Rukia and Renji are still alive, and he says, "Yeah, they're seen. Thank goodness. I don't have much time left. Though I am a captain of the court guard squad, I was unable to defeat the particular people who trampled on the Serete and led many squad members to their deaths and brought sorrow to both their subordinates and to their families, only to lose and die. I gotta say, I fucking love the dialogue here, man. Byakuya, Kubo, my guy, man. Jesus, and he's deeply ashamed of this, and the other end says, on the other hand, Ichigo is a human. Not only should you not be involved in this fight, you shouldn't even be here in the first place. So forgive me for the terrible audacity to ask you one final favor. Please protect the Soul Society, Ichigo Konosaki." We finally hear the line, man. Oh my god. We've obviously seen the shot in the scene in the trailers before, but Jesus, seeing in the actual episode with the rest of Byakuya's speech attached to it, bro. Oh my god, bro. This shit was hidden, bro. This shit was hidden. Now, before we end this off, before Ichigo is out for blood, going over to take on Yuha, we gotta talk about what this will mean, what will happen with Byakuya going forward. I mentioned this in my review for the second to last episode, and I said I was saving it for this episode, so we're gonna talk about here. Is Kubo going to keep Byakuya dead? Is he going to stick to his guns? Now, before I continue onward, I should probably preface this. We are about to get into possible spoilers for the future events of the anime, depending on how it adapts to manga. So if you do not want to know any spoilers about the manga, skip ahead in the video. For everyone else, let us continue. As you guys know, Byakuya was originally meant to die here. He was supposed to die. But from the backlash and the death threats he got from the Byakuya simps, let's keep it real. I'm gonna guarantee you they were all 15-year-old girls. I wasn't on Kubo's Twitter. I wasn't even a fan of Bleach. By this point, I hadn't even watched anything of Bleach. I probably just barely even knew of Bleach by the time whenever this happened in the manga. But you guys know that this is back when Kubo was still on Twitter originally. But because of the backlash he got there and the death threats he got, he eventually changed it to where Byakuya survived because of the backlash he got from fans. So, what does that mean for the anime? Because we know Kubo is working tirelessly, is deeply involved with the production of the anime, and obviously we know he's going to be helping in there, adding new stuff that he couldn't add in the manga, so on and so forth. So, that obviously begs the question: Will Kubo keep Byakuya dead? Will this be Byakuya's death? Now, one thing I thought that was interesting that could also tell us if this will happen is that James, in his, I believe it was either his reaction or review of that episode, he mentioned that they cut out the scene where Hoshwald said Byakuya Kuchiki is dead. Now, obviously, when you cut that part out, it makes it seem like that maybe Kubo is going to just keep Byakuya alive and just continue with that in the manga. That could be the case. But given just how this scene is in there, man, and Byakuya obviously comes off like he is on the verge of death, is he going to keep him dead? Is Byakuya going to stay dead this time, and he will not be brought back I don't know. I'm personally betting that he's probably not going to change it because I'm sure keeping Byakuya dead and sticking with the original plan would cause huge ripple effect for the rest of the manga. And Kubo's probably going to have to rework certain scenes to work in without Byakuya's involvement. But that is an interesting theory to think about if Kubo's going to stick to his guns and actually keep Byakuya dead. That would be interesting. I mean, I don't know when we're going to find out for certain if Byakuya is dead or still alive. I guess we'll find out maybe next week or in the next couple weeks. But that's something that's something that's been obviously been on my mind ever since the anime first finally got announced, and we knew about how much Kubo was going to be involved in production. Was Kubo going to stick to his original guns and keep Byakuya dead? It's definitely an interesting question. Leave your thoughts down in the comments, guys. What do you guys think is going to happen? Do you think Byakuya is going to stay dead in the anime, or do you think he will come back just like he did in the manga? So, yeah, just wanted to talk about that, guys, because that's something because I've been curious about that since the anime got announced. And, of course, when we got to the actual scene, I was like, is Kubo actually going to do it? Is Kubo actually going to keep Byakuya dead this time? We'll have to wait and see on that. So then Hushwalt and Yuha notice Ichigo's spiritual pressure, and Hushwalt asks, like, oh, you want me to purge him? He's like, no, let's go. And then that's when Ichigo Zanpakuto appears right in front of Yuha before he appears, bro. And you can see the look on Ichigo's face. My man is out for blood. This man is out for Yuha's blood, and he is not satisfied until Zangetsu is stained with Yuha's blood, man. My man was ready. He was ready to throw down with this man, even though he's been beating this shit. Anyway, after the commercial cuts, once again, the artwork on those looked absolutely amazing. We go back to Byakuya, and he says that I didn't get a response. That's fine. That's the kind of man he is. I know his answer even if he didn't respond. I'm counting on you, Ichigo Kurosaki. And that's when he drops his Zanpakuto and it completely disintegrates. Like I said, will Kubo stick to his original guns this time? We'll have to wait and see on that, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, we're back to Ichigo and Yuha. Hushwalt is ready to ask if he wants him to take care of him, but Yuha stops him, and he decides that he will be the one to take him down. And he asks Ichigo if he's really intent to fight in this ragged state. And that's when Ichigo asks him if he is the enemy leader. He's like, oh, the enemy? Yes. But you could also say I'm not. Ichigo raises his Zanpakuto, screaming at him, telling him, like, I cut the crap. Just tell me, are you the one that destroyed the Soul Society? And Yuha, with a massive smile on his face, says yes. This is when Ichigo just goes off. My man unleashes his spiritual pressure, or whatever the fuck this is, and he charges at Yuha. And bro, the animation right here, man, the art animation here, fucking god tier once again, bro. It looked amazing, and the music. Oh my god, the music, bro. The Bleach composer literally goes off for anybody but the Soul Reapers, bro. For the Quincy's, the Arancons, everybody else gets badass music except the Soul Society, bro. No, the Soul Reapers do not get that badass epic music like everybody else does, but bro, the music was incredible. The music also, when they were playing it for the original Gote 13, that song was also really fucking good as well. So these two are swinging their swords at each other, bro. I'm not even gonna try and like recap this shit. The animation was too fucking good, bro. And just like y'all saw the episode, y'all know how badass it was. Anyway, Yuha ends up getting the upper hand before Ichigo grabs his Zanpakuto again, but Yuha catches him and ends up thrusting his sword in what looks like his throat. It looks like he threw his sword into his neck. It looks like, can't tell for certain given other angles we see at the same time. It looks like it's like in his midsection or something, but yeah, either way, Ichigo gets stabbed. But then that's when he notices this blue stuff around where Ichigo's neck is, and that's when he questions if that's the blue Veni, if I'm pronouncing that right. He then gets Yuha off him, and Ichigo manages to stand back up, and Ichigo tells him, "You think you won just because you once stood a few of my attacks? That's not what I meant." Yuha goes to charge him again, but Ichigo manages to block him with his Zanpakuto. And I gotta say, I love that shot of when Ichigo when he manages to block Yuha's attack, bro. Oh my god, that shot looks so fucking good, man. And then Yuha slides his sword down, basically cuts off his like little arm guard thing or whatever the fuck you want to call it, and we see more of the blue Veni, if I'm pronouncing it right, on his arm. That's when Yuha knows he's not imagining it. Ichigo is questioning what he knows, what the hell he's talking about. And Yuha explains that it seems like that using Kage to keep you at bay was a mistake. He should have used an Arankar instead. because it seems like that as Ichigo was like swinging his sword like a madman using Getsuga Tensho, throwing his spiritual pressure at its maximum, that somehow his spiritual Kage's spiritual pressure seeped into his soul and the memories within your and kind of like brought back some of the memories deep within your spiritual pressure. And Yuha explains that it seems using Kage to keep you at bay was a mistake. He should have used an Arancar rather than a True Blood Quincy. Because of that, the memories within your spiritual pressure have awakened too soon. And the reason for this is because he kept releasing his spiritual pressure to its limit. Obviously, while the Getsuga tensions while he was inside Kage's prison, led to some of Kage's spiritual pressure seeping into the soul of Ichigo, awakening some of the memories that Ichigo has deep within his spiritual pressure, and that they somehow managed to mix together. And that Kage's jail is only meant to restrain enemies, and is unable to contain Quincy's. Ta-da-da! Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it appears Ichigo has some Quincy blood in him from his mother, it seems. Ichigo, because Ichigo once again shocked by this revelation, is wondering what the hell he's talking about. And Yuha says, it seems like you don't know anything about yourself, not even your own mother. And I love this shot as well, when they zoom in on Ichigo's eye and you see Ichigo, what looks like Ichigo's mom when she died, which they did reanimate this. They didn't reuse the footage from the original Bleach for this scene. They did reanimate this. And that shot looks really fucking good. And then Yuha explained that his original plan was to bring Ichigo back, which was originally what he was going to do when he stabbed him in the throat, was to bring him back over to his hideout and, of course, re-educate him about his, I guess, Quincy abilities or Quincy lineage, I guess. Anyway, Yuha tells him he doesn't have that luxury anymore and will basically use force and drag Ichigo back over to their hideout. Ichigo screams out, I said, what the hell are you talking about? And he tells him, I'll tell you at Wanderenchi, if I'm pronouncing that right, before he unleashes another Quincy attack called Qualcaris, if I'm pronouncing that right, which I'm probably not, fires off these arrows at Ichigo, which he manages to block first, but they eventually start going through like rocks, and they all all start to like cover Ichigo up in like rocks and everything, and just kind of like subduing him. But right as before Yuha is about to unleash another attack, that's when that black mist stuff that we saw from Espan comes out of his sword, obviously meaning that it's time for him to go back to the Wanderenchi. And so Yuha's confused by this, thinking like he should tell him time, but then we realize this is one of Aizen's trick. What exactly is the trick? I'm not sure. They didn't really explain what it was. I don't know. Anyway, the end of this, that's when the Quincy decide to leave. We see Bambi and a few others all into the mist. But right before Yuha goes through, Ichigo emerges one last time, saying, you think I'd let you go after what you did to the Soul Society? Yuha doesn't listen to him, he just keeps walking. Ichigo charges for him, and that's when Hushwalt, like Byakuya before him, breaks Ichigo's Zanpakuto with his sword. Once again, just like in the beginning of the series, Ichigo is completely destroyed, defeated at the sight of his broken Zanpakuto, as Yuha tells him to heal his wounds and wait. My son born in darkness. And as the portal closes, that's actually when they put in the episode title card, which I thought was fucking ingenious, bro. That was so clean. Before we then get to the ED, which was slightly changed up. Now, a few screenshots of this did already leak a couple days ago, which basically the ED now is just with the original 13 card God Squad. And I love the shots they used. They more or less kind of repurposed the images we already saw from that original poster we saw, but they obviously changed up the styling of it, and it looked fucking amazing, bro. And I love that they ended it off with the current 13 Court Guard Squad, which I thought was a nice touch, man, which is also just ripped right out of the poster, but looks with the way they redone the assets, man, it looked amazing. But yeah, that's where the episode ends, ladies and gentlemen. Another fucking amazing episode, man. Bangers as always from Periot. Man, can't wait for next week. Next week's gonna be interesting. I'm not sure what's in that episode. But yeah, should be interesting how this follows up, where this will go. And yeah, can't wait for next week, man. Looking forward to when that episode drops next week. Oh my god, this episode's fucking amazing, man. Anyway, guys, I've rambled on long enough. Overall, I give this episode a 10 out of fucking 10, ladies and gentlemen. Seriously, bro, the animation this episode was insane. God tier, Ichigo. And yeah, looks like we won't be too far off before Ichigo gets his new form, which we saw in the OP, and you probably won't receive from like Jump Force and BBS and everything. But yeah, looking forward to that. I don't know if that's gonna be next week or later on. I guess we'll have to wait and see on that. Anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed the video. You'd like if you did, subscribe if you're new. Follow me on my socials if you feel like it. Links down in the description box below. And as always, come back for more. See you guys next time. She's
She's